Welcome to our garden. I'm Randall. This is my wife, Michelle. We're going to do a walk around of the garden and show you what's going on. So let's go ahead. All right, the first bed we come to when we come in is our leftover from our winter garden. We've got some rutabagas in here that are finishing up. This was our first year growing rutabagas. I've never grown them before, and I just wanted to see how they did for us. We got a good rain last night. I put a little fertilizer on them. I don't think we have any roots yet. There's a little bit of a root starting to form, but these are nowhere near ready to harvest yet. When these rutabagas come out of here, we're going to go back in with either like a sweet potato or a corn. We haven't made up our mind yet what we're going to put in this bed, but we're going to amend it first before we come back and put anything in. Over here we have some broccoli that we started from seeds, and we started these in January. And I noticed as walking around a while ago, we're starting to get a broccoli head in there. Look at that. Nice little broccoli head. We only have one or two that's starting to come on. We're going to pay attention to these, and we're going to make sure that we're able to harvest these. We'll be watching out for the improved or the imported caterpillar moth. Make sure they're not invading our broccoli and trying to ruin our crop. We're going to try to keep those under control. I see several broccoli heads in here. We planted these, I believe it was in January that we put these in the ground, but it looks like most all of these are starting to head up. We've got some broccoli over here that we had started a little bit later, but I'll show you those in just a second. This year we decided to grow our onions starting in the winter time. About November time frame, we went to our local co-op in Atmore, and we bought these nice onion starts. These are a sweet Vidalia variety, Texas Grano. And we always try to grow a nice batch of onions every year, and these have just done absolutely wonderful this year. I said going into this season, we're going to pay a lot of extra attention into our peppers and to our onions along with the rest of our garden, because we had so much going on last spring that I kind of neglected of harvesting and tending to the onions. And this is probably going to be our best crop of onions that we've had so far. Look at these nice big onions that are starting to bulb up. These tops aren't even flopping over and getting ready to finish up yet, but we got nice slicing onions in there. Look at the size of that onion. That's as big as a softball. And if you look all through there, all of our onions are pretty much the same. We came in here about a week ago. We pulled all the soil away from the bulbs. We give them some sodium nitrate to try to really grow those onion bulbs. Now over here in this bed, we bought a batch of red onions at the same time. Our red onions are doing good. We didn't have a bigger crop like we did with our sweet Valdalias. Our Valdalia type of onions, the Granos, they seem to always do better here than our red ones. But they are looking okay. We're going to have plenty to slice up and put in the freezer. All right, now this bed, we bought Ohio blue corn. This is going to be our first year ever growing blue corn. With the grain shortage that's going on in America right now, we decided that we're going to try to grow some of this blue corn. We're going to buy a meal. We're going to grind our own corn this year and hopefully get some flour and some grits and some cornmeal out of it. And that we're going to bring you along and show you that in a future episode whenever this corn gets up and we get it harvested. So that's exciting. We're really geared up about what's going to be going on with the corn. Matter of fact, we're probably going to do another round of corn this year to ensure that we've got plenty of corn to do all the stuff that we want to do with. Now over here is our squash bed. I've got two varieties of honey boat delicata squash. I've got some yellow squash, and I've got some zucchini that are just starting to come up because the zucchini was planted a little bit later than the yellow squash. They're a little bit behind because Michelle's like, did you plant any zucchini? I said, no. She says, all right, let's go plant some zucchini. So she went to the feed store and she found some zucchini, and then she asked, well, how much zucchini? And he's like, it's 75 cents a scoop. And she's like, give me 3 scoops. So we got like a half a bag of zucchini seeds.
Well, he wanted me to buy a whole bag.
Well, Jeff wanted you to buy a whole bag? Yeah, you don't need to buy a whole bag. I was like, we're only gonna plant like 5 seeds. But we ended up with plenty of seeds of zucchini. We're gonna look over here now. This is our second round of broccoli. This is the broccoli bed that's behind that broccoli over there. We grew these from seed a little bit later than we grew those from seed. They're looking pretty good. They're just not as far along as the other variety or the other bed that we have over there. Now, if you look right here, this is our potato bed. We had some red potatoes that were sprouting, and so we put those in one row. And because they were sprouting, they got a head jump on all of our purple potatoes that we planted over here. Our purple potatoes are starting to jump out of the ground. We had some that came up quicker than others. You can see they're still got them coming up in the row right there. But we wanted to do more with the purple potatoes this year, so we saved us. We grew more than what we grew last year, and we're hoping to keep growing our purple variety. We really like how the purple variety performs. But our reds seem to be doing really well this year. All right, that's it for what we have growing on in our beds. I do want to show you over here though. Our raised bed, this is kind of left over from the winter. I'd planted some kale over here, some mustard, some lettuces. But look at these onions. These were last year's onions. They had little bitty onions on them. They didn't do anything. I couldn't harvest them to put in the freezer, so I just kind of threw them over here in a corner. So look at all these bulbs that grew up from these leftover onions that I just threw in here last year. Those are nice big bulbs. I decided we're not going to harvest these yet, but I'm going to grow these out for seed. So if you look at these seed heads that are all going to seed right now, this seed head's going to bloom. Once these get pollinated, I have some little sachet bags. I'm going to cover those up. We're going to let those shed their seeds, and then I'll capture those in sachet bags. And then these will be seed for next year's onion crop. I got some beetles that are starting to attack this mustard plant, so I'm going to have to do something with that. And then this is bok choy from the winter garden. And I was going to let this go to seed. I'm going to harvest these up, and we're going to see how bok choy does from seed that are naturalized to our area. All right, now let's go ahead and over here to the artichokes. I planted these artichokes right after we moved in here. We built this, and so this is a plant that's probably 4 or 5 years old. If you look here in the top, I've got artichokes that are coming to head right there. This won't be long. That one will be ready to harvest. And then we've got another one right beside it. And then right here we have 2 more that are coming up in the top of this one. This dies back to the ground every year. And then every year it comes right back up from the roots. I gave it a good amount of organic fertilizer this year, and it seems to be doing really well for us. Now here's 2 varieties of purple artichoke that I planted in the fall from seed, and then I planted these out around November in the ground. So they went through a winter season, and this is essentially the second season for these artichokes, and I don't know if they're going to bloom or not. Artichokes, they have to go through a cold spell before they'll want to bloom. So we may or may not get blooms from these this year, but when they do, can't wait to see those purple bulbs that come up on it. Now our Marconis, these are a yellow variety, and I started the yellow variety from seeds that I ordered. This red Marconi was left over. This red Marconi I dug up out of the ground in the fall, put it in a pot, put it back out and it's doing a wonderful job. I got lots of blooms on it. It's looking good. I trimmed off all the dead that I had on it, and it's loading up with buds and loading up with blooms. And maybe we'll get a good harvest off of this, since this is the second year for our Marconi. I've never held Marconi through the winter. This is the first time doing that. We've always held Tabasco through, and just fine. And matter of fact, the next year, it just puts on more peppers than what we can deal with. So I'm gonna try to start saving some of our pepper plants through the winter just to see how they do. And we've also got fresh peppers to go along with it, just in case they don't. So over here I went to, down to the little local greenhouse, and I bought these little red Marconis to put down beside it. So we're gonna have a nice selection of yellows and red sweet Marconis. This is a tray of Mr. Stripey tomatoes that didn't get planted out because I had already planted all I wanted, and I just haven't disposed of those yet. I need to get them out of here. This is our tomato project. This is a triple crop. If you watched in our previous episode, I took the auger, I dug 3 foot deep in 3 separate holes, and I amended it with compost, biochar, organic fertilizers, and a few other stuff. So if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to go back and check out that video. We're going to see how big we can grow these tomatoes off of this vine this year. So far it's looking good. I've had to come up here, tighten up the trellis that we've got here, and if you've not seen that video, go back and check out our string trellis video we just did. But I have to come out here every day or two and trim off those suckers so that we can try to grow that up, see how tall we can get it. I allotted at least 4 foot on each side so that these roots don't invade over there, just to give that root zone over there ample enough room to spread out without having to worry about these other plants trying to take energy away from it. I had to replant one of our paste tomatoes. It got some disease on it, pulled it out of there, and I put another variety down in there, and so it's just now starting to get settled in. This is Amish paste over here. It seems to be doing okay. I had to replant that one. That's why it looks like it's behind. But look at it compared to this one. This is where they all should be right now. This Amish paste was one of the original that I planted. It's putting on blooms. It's looking good, getting nice and tall. I have to make sure I come out here every day, every other day, sucker it, and keep it trained up on the trellis. Another Amish paste, same thing. Now I had another Amish paste over here, and it got disease on it, so I had to pull it out yesterday. And so I took a leftover tomato plant that I had and I popped it in the ground. So we're going to see what that does. But that is, got this from Baker Creek, Sart Rollois, however you say that. So that's that variety. I've got others of that, but I had to replace it with something, and that's what I chose. This is the Mr. Stripey from the tray of Mr. Stripey you saw over there. This one's looking really good. This is from our saved seed stock. So I saved seeds from 2 years ago when we grew this. We didn't grow this here last year. So that was previous year's seeds. Over here we have Black Beauty. That's looking good. Got some nice dark veining on it. Looks like it's loading up with flowers. And then yesterday I had to come over here, and this was another one. This was another plant that was starting to get some disease on it. So I got it out of there before that disease spread to my other plants. All these heirloom varieties, they seem to want to get disease on them really easy. Really susceptible disease outside of what hybrids. That's the benefit of growing with hybrids, is they're bred to be more withstanding of the diseases that are around. And these heirloom varieties, they seem to get attacked a little bit easier. So we went back with a yellow Brandywine right there yesterday. Over here we have anise nor. It's looking pretty good. No signs of disease on it. Nice and green. Now the cat got in the garden last week and was trying to get out. Come over here and knocked the complete top out of one of my tomatoes. And there was nothing left on it but just a stem. So I had to pull it out yesterday, or 2 or 3 days ago, and replant behind it. But it is also an anise noir. And then over here is another yellow Brandywine potato leaf variety. Starting to get some blooms on it. Training it up on trellis. And it's looking good so far. All right, last tomato I've got in the row. Kellogg's Breakfast, another yellow variety. I really like these big yellow varieties. They taste really good. They're good on sandwiches. And let's just trim that sucker right off the bottom right there. Get that out of there. We want it to train up instead of branching out so much. I don't really want any side branching going on just yet. Eventually I'll miss a day. These things will get out of control on you and then that'll just be a wash. But I'm trying to stay disciplined this year and do as much as I can with it. All right, now I've got something else I want to show you. So let's go on around, check it out. Okay, one other thing before we go. Go around this way. I've got a Cherokee tan pumpkin, 3 seeds coming up in there. We'll thin that down. We won't leave just 3 seeds in that, but previous year's pumpkin seeds back in the ground. Back here, this whole back side is our asparagus bed. And we had asparagus randomly coming up. So I went through and all the big stalks to where I should be able to get a harvest off of them, we took them off. And then to see if we could get some shoots all at one time to harvest. And we have a few asparagus out here that are ready to harvest, but you've got to really look through here. But we need to get out here and harvest them. But I really like fresh asparagus. All right, over here on this side of the garden, we have what was left of our strawberries. Look at there, how nice. I didn't even know these strawberries were over here. And these are perfectly ripe. These look so good. We're gonna have these for dinner tonight, or for dessert after dinner tonight.
There's one stuck over there too. Okay, here, I'll hold some.
We can use another day or two. Over where?
You got it. Oh, there's a couple right there.
Nice ones. Where did these come from? So we'll have a few strawberries to eat tonight. We were hoping these would set runners and we would convert this raised bed over to be a strawberry bed. And we still might do that, but that'll be later on. If you look right here, my friend David the Good gave me a cassava cutting. So we've got cassava coming up right there. So we're gonna grow that out and harvest the roots and eat some cassava. I've got some potted up angel trumpets that are in here. And all this kale's getting ready to come out of here. It's done turned bitter on us because it's done got too warm. I've got some peppers over here. Trinidad perfume, heatless jalapeno, and peachadoo over here. One of the things I wanted to show you is over here in the onion bed, we had all our Tabasco peppers last year. They grew up big. We had a lot of Tabasco peppers are over here. So right before the freeze, I came over here and I cut them down and I kind of pulled dirt up to the stump. Now look at all these Tabascos that are coming back from the stump right here. We should be able to get some nice big Tabasco plants because these roots already have a head start on any of the other peppers. So I just want to show you that.
What can we say? They like the soil.
Yep. All right, over here is our green bean trellis. We took cattle panels, we cut them, I guess these are probably at least 10 foot long, and just kind of bowed them down to the ground, put our beds out here. We've had these over here for 3, maybe 4 years now, and we like to grow our green beans here. They grow up on runners and they start putting on green beans about this area. So all the green beans hang down. So we just come under here and harvest all of our green beans on the other side. And we added another panel this year so that we can get a few more green beans. But I've already got the boards cut. We're gonna come back and we're gonna make this one continuous bed. We're gonna put this one continuous cattle panel archway under here, and we're going to finish this on out so we can grow more green beans. But these are really looking good. They're starting to get some runners on them. They're starting to make their way over to the fence and starting to run. So in another week or two, these should be on up here and starting to bloom here real soon. But these are real good, looking real good. All right, that's going to wrap up the garden video this time. I hope you enjoyed it. Follow us along. We're going to bring you a tour of the orchard and show you everything that's going on with our fruit orchard. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, keep growing, keep building, and always keep adventuring. And together, we're Flemington Famous. Thanks for watching.